What you want to know?
What's going on, people? Myke ctown here with another episode of What Do You Want to Know, where you ask your questions. If I like your question, I'll answer your question on camera. And yeah, it's been a long time since I've done one of these. Sorry, work is beating the shit out of me, but I'm trying to get back into it. So cross your fingers for me. Anyway, yeah. So this question comes from one of my Patreon supporters, Jake. I want to thank all of my Patreon supporters, of course, but special thanks to Jake for sending this question in. Jake says, "Hey Myke, longtime viewer and I love the content. I'm just curious about your past content. You used to be really hard on rappers in reviews, but I've noticed you've softened up over time. Is there any reason for this? And how do you feel about negative reviews in general?" So back when I joined Dead in Hip Hop back in whatever it was, 2011, yes, I was very harsh towards artists that I just didn't like. Hearing me say this guy sucks or this guy should never make another album ever again was fairly common back in those days. I didn't care who it was or how deeply my words could affect that artist. I would just say what I felt. Now, there are a few reasons that I was like this. One, I was just a fucking asshole. That's the main reason, you know? One of the other reasons that I've never really got into is I had weirdly convinced myself that telling rappers that I thought sucked to leave rap was a way of keeping the scene alive. As weird and gatekeepery as that sounds, I had told myself that if the genre stayed true to its roots, that was a way to ensure longevity. You know, if there were fewer artists that were creating watered down versions of what the genre entailed, then it would guarantee that it would last longer. Of course, now I realize just how beyond stupid that is. You know, the more artists incorporate ideas and sounds from other genres, it'll be easier to bring in new listeners, and therefore the more attention that'll be on the genre and the subculture, so that will actually make it last a lot longer. Now, of course, there'll be those artists that don't give a fuck about any of that shit, and they just want to create music that represents the genre at its purest form, whether it be hip hop, metal, punk, country, whatever have you. And I think those people are just as important as the newer innovators. I feel like there always needs to be a balance between the purists and the innovators in order to keep these genres and these subcultures alive. On that note of the need for purists, that's why a large part of me does understand why there were people who fought to keep Lil Nas X's song Old Town Road from being considered a country song, or why there are people that refuse to consider Post Malone as a part of hip hop. Now, this is only in regards to the musical aspect of these artists. I'm not commenting on the people that, you know, base their decision and their opinion on race or the sexual orientation of these artists. Anyway, one of the main reasons that I changed my behavior and my approach is I just didn't really see a point in going out of my way to insult artists. You know, I feel like it's not cool and it's not necessary. I think there's a difference between saying I don't like this song or even I think this song is terrible versus saying something like this song is trash or this song sucks and this person should never make another song again. You know, I feel like there's ways to say certain things without coming off as disrespectful. You have to kind of approach it as if it is really just your opinion as opposed to stating a matter of fact. And that should just kind of be common sense. You guys should just take what we say as just an opinion, but you know, it sometimes does depend on the delivery of the person speaking. And you know, even if it's an artist that I don't particularly like, I think it's fair to say that artists do put in work to get their music done. So to just ruthlessly tear it apart can be a little dickish, you know? And I used to do that a lot. Not saying I don't still do that every now and again or that I won't do it later. I'm just trying to do it much less these days. But yeah, I just don't see a point in purposely trying to make a rapper or an artist in general feel bad about their music just on the basis of me not enjoying it sonically. You know, a lot of people have actually asked if I was threatened or attacked, and if that's why I stopped being so disrespectful to rappers, and if that's why, you know, I chose to apologize to certain rappers. And the honest answer is no, absolutely not. You know, I've never been threatened or attacked. Well, I've never been threatened by anyone who matters. I still definitely get those randos in my DMs that say shit like, I don't like what you said about, XYZ artists, and if I ever see you in Chickamauga, Kansas, I'm gonna fuck you up. That kind of bullshit. Shit that never is ever gonna fucking happen. But yeah, those don't matter to me at all. I'm saying I've never been threatened or attacked by rappers or any of the artists that I've been disrespectful to. Amazingly enough, I don't know why that hasn't happened. But no, I publicly apologize to rappers like J. Cole and John Connor and A$AP Rocky and Guilty Simpson and God, whoever else I was an asshole to, because I just didn't like the way I talked to them or about them. And it was shitty and it was uncalled for, regardless of how I felt about any of their music. Whether or not they accept that apology, it's not really about me at that point. That would be more about them. But I can say I was very happy when John Connor and A$AP seemed to publicly accept my apology. It made me feel better that maybe people understood that humans make mistakes and they grow. So yeah, so much love to them for that. And as always, I've mentioned before, much love to Lupe Fiasco for taking the time out of his day to explain to me that people's words have a lot of weight, especially when they're on public platforms, and they need to use those words responsibly. That was a big catalyst for my perceived attitude change, which leads to my next and my last point here regarding this, and that is legacy. I really started thinking about legacy and death. I'm not old, but I ain't young either. You know what I'm saying? And anything could happen. I could literally die tomorrow. And what I want people's overall opinion to be, that's the guy who spent all his time needlessly shitting on artists who are only trying to make their own mark in the world in their own way. And, the answer is no. I don't want that to be my legacy, I'd want my legacy to be about the guy who spent a lot of his time discussing art and promoting art and art criticism. A lot of times art critics or, music critics, movie critics, whatever have you, begin to see themselves as bigger than the artists themselves or the creatives themselves and forget where our actual place is in the world. And, I just don't want to be looked at as that guy. Now, I say all this without saying that I won't still do negative or critical reviews, because I will. I absolutely will. I see nothing wrong with negative reviews. I do think that there is actually a benefit to them. I think positive reviews do a lot as far as validating the artist, telling the artist what you, the consumer, thinks that they're doing right. If the positive reviews lead to widespread acclaim, then that raises the value of the artist to the general public as well as the music industry, which means that could lead to them making more money and being able to stick around and make more art that we, the consumer, can enjoy. And all of those things are extremely important. But I'm a fan of art discussion, and I think when you're having to defend what you like against someone outlining the reasons that they think something is bad or that they don't like a certain thing, it kind of forces you to really analyze the art in a different way. If someone says that they don't like the vocals on a song, but you do, it kind of pushes you to think about why you like those vocals. If someone says that the production on an album is bad, but you love the production, that negative or critical statement, it can push you to kind of think about the reasons that you enjoy the production. It's no longer just, I like this and this is enjoyable. It's, well, no, I like the way the drums sound and you don't. In my opinion, this isn't something that you really do if you're having a big circle jerk about why an album's good. If everyone around you is saying that they like something and you agree, you're more prone to just say, I agree, and move on with the rest of your day. But I feel like being challenged on your beliefs or your understanding of an art piece can and should serve to increase your stance on that piece. If that truly is your stance. So if I see a review that's done by some rando at Pitchfork, or that's done by some of my homies on here that do reviews, that's destroying something that I like, I don't get upset or offended. First off, I usually find it funny for some odd reason, but it also just reinforces why I enjoy the thing that they don't. You know, those guys could never actually change my mind and make me dislike something that I already like. And I can't speak for them, but I can guarantee you that is not their purpose anyway. Lastly, negative or critical reviews can do a few things for the artist. You know, it can let them know what to improve on if the review is introducing an element that they never really thought about. Or it can help them kind of come into their own as an artist. You know, maybe the artist's approach to creation was solely based on mimicry due to them maybe being afraid to step out and do what they actually wanted to do. And if a review noticed this and called it out because the mimicry was noticeable, then that could be beneficial for the artist. You know, that could be the push that the artist needed to say, fuck it, I'm gonna go do this shit how I wanna do this shit. And if I fail, you know, then at least I failed on my own and, you know, by my own terms, as opposed to because I followed someone else's path. But all in all, yes, I do think that negative reviews can be beneficial. Again, as long as the points are presented in a way that's respectful to the art and the artist, you know, then they can be beneficial to the listener. They can be beneficial to the nerd who's interested in discussion, and they can be beneficial to the artist who is mature enough to take that criticism and apply it when necessary. Because I see a lot of artists who will praise positive reviews about their art automatically, but then tell critics who make negative reviews about that art that they don't know what they're talking about or that they're irrelevant. Whereas I say a negative review is just an opinion, same as a positive review. So if a subjective negative review or opinion about a piece of art is irrelevant, then that same stance should go towards a subjective positive review or opinion about that same piece of art. It's all irrelevant and useless, and who cares, right? Or we can just take them for what they are, you know, opinions that can lead to discussions around art, and that's it. And I think that that is actually extremely important. All right, so that's going to do it for this video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed it. I definitely want to hear your opinions on this, so be sure to drop some comments down there in the comment section. But yeah, if you want to send a question for me to answer, it's not always going to be from my patrons. You can send it to ctownwdywk. Okay, it's been so long since I've done this shit. ctownwdywk at gmail.com. Send it there. And yeah, that's going to do it. As usual, thank you for living, thank you for loving, thank you for being you, and I'll see you guys next time. All right, peace out.